Good evening, Martinsville Live. Good evening, Gary.
Good evening, Justin. I had to get myself down off the desk from doing some dancing.
I know, like straight disco style.
It was fun.
That was fun. For those that don't know, that was actually the intro to the TV show SWAT from like 1976 or something.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to pick out, honestly.
It was fun, though.
It was fun.
Yeah.
But the reason that we were playing that, do you want to introduce the guy over at Camera 3?
Yeah, I can.
All right.
That's right across from me, right?
Yes, it is.
Current Morgan County SWAT commander and Morgan County detective sergeant, right?
Correct.
Okay. Mr.?
Both?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dang.
Former Morgan County coroner, Dan
Correct.
Downing.
How you doing, Dan?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having us. I love this show. You guys are doing a great job for the community, and we really appreciate you having us on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now at Camera 4,
Oh, am I introducing that one as well?
I mean, if you'd like to.
Sure. Future, very soon, SWAT commander, current lieutenant with the Martinsville Police Department, one of my bosses. We'll get to that later.
That's why you got to be on your best behavior.
Canine handler,
Yes.
Blake Long.
How are you, Blake?
Good, how are you?
Doing well.
Good.
Were you mad that your brother was on here before you?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
No, he could have even came and sat today. I wouldn't have been upset about it.
Okay, just making sure.
So, real quick, I want to say them are some pretty cool shirts.
Yeah, these are our latest edition. We call these the Joe Roop edition. Joe Roop was he was our initial trainer when SWAT started in '97. He was pretty much a legend in the law enforcement field, and when we met up with him, he was the chief deputy at Johnson County Sheriff's Department and their SWAT commander, and he was our initial trainer. And one of the things that he came up with was the slogan that's on the sleeve, which is Ut Unum, which translates to as one, which has been our team's logo since the beginning.
Nice.
Nice.
I guess it's logo and not slogo.
And then you guys get them from a local company, actually.
Right. Danielle Wingler with Just Winging It.
Nice.
T-shirt designs. She does a great job for us. She has done all of our shirts for the last several years and just does phenomenal work.
And she's actually she's opening a shop, I think, right?
I think so. Just
Yeah,
right
like-
down the road.
Yeah, like not far at all.
I think she has a grand opening here soon.
Yeah. Wednesday?
I think. Danielle, can
Thursday?
you tell us?
She's like a block from here because I just ran down there, so
Nice.
she's really close.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to
I
talk
bought
to her about
for
some
St.
shirts, for sure.
Patrick's Day, I bought a 4-leaf clover with the flag thin blue line through it. She did
Nice.
a great job on that. Unfortunately, my wife took it from me, and I don't get to wear it, so.
That's typically what happens. Okay, so Dan, let's start with you.
Okay.
Let me switch over to Dan here and tell us kind of how you got involved in law enforcement. When, at what age did you know that you wanted to, be in law enforcement? That whole kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, I was probably 14, 15 years old. I knew I wanted to go in law enforcement. Started to look into law enforcement in different aspects. When I graduated from high school, I was 17. So my parents thought it would be the best idea for me to go to college since I couldn't do anything until I was 21 in law enforcement. So when I finished with that, I started in the jail in 1991, and I worked there for 3 years before I went to Morgantown Police Department as a deputy town marshal. Stayed there for 2.5 years. And then came back under Sheriff Terry Weddle in 1997, where I was hired as a merit deputy. I've been there ever since.
Nice.
Now, what deer?
Yes, I taught DARE also.
Right. Yeah. What year did you become the Morgan County coroner?
2000,
And
2008.
How many terms? One term?
2 terms,
Two
two
terms.
4-year terms, yeah.
Nice.
What's that job like?
It's really not as bad as what you would think, and it really is a law enforcement platform job. And if you look back in history, the coroner was the person that was given that position to basically look after people's loved ones and take care of their property. So it was someone that was trustworthy and held a high regard in the community. And that's something that came over, with a lot of our other rules and laws. And it's still established here as one of our constitutional positions. But it really wasn't a bad job. It was very interesting. I seen a lot of things in that time period that I never thought I'd see.
I can imagine.
But it's one of those things that's it's done, and I don't want to do it again.
Right. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Blake, same question. I know you've got your older brother, Matt.
Both my older brothers.
But they're both older than you?
Correct.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
He only
But-
said that because you look older.
I agree.
But Matt is the he's been on before. He's the chief of police at the Martinsville City Police Department, and your other brother is a sheriff with Morgan County, correct?
Correct.
And then you hold many roles within the various departments. So, how does a whole family of brothers become police?
Well, I wanted to do this since I was very young. They kind of grew the desire a little later in life, but it was kind of a family thing. We had our grandfather was a policeman in the military, and then it just went from there. So generations.
Nice. Gary, what are you grinning about?
Oh, I was just talking to Dan. Me and Dan were talking.
I could explain later. It's an avoidance of a portion of that question. That's what they're laughing about.
That's exactly what I was laughing about.
Way to dime us out there, Justin.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll figure that out later.
Okay, I got you.
Oh, your brother has joined us, by the way. He's got some nice
Which
questions. Matt.
Oh,
So I'm sure he has some nice questions he'd like to send in if he hasn't already.
I'm sure.
We're waiting on them, Matt.
I hope he remembers that I didn't ask any questions of him when he was on your show, so only his brother did.
Right.
So I hope he realizes that.
So how long have you been the commander of the Morgan County SWAT team?
I believe I took over as commander in 2000. When it first started out, Bobby Garner was the commander, and we had an assistant commander, Robert Brown. And Bobby Garner decided he was going to run for sheriff, and then I took over after that. So since 2000.
Nice. And when does this transition take place where Blake will then become commander?
December 31st at midnight.
Right on the dot.
Right on the dot.
Not-
Absolutely.
Not a minute later.
Well, it might be a minute before, but it won't be a minute after.
And what role will he have to step into? Now, he's been on SWAT. You've been on SWAT for how long, Blake?
8 years.
8 years. And what type of step is that to take into the commander position of the Morgan County SWAT team?
It's actually a big step. Blake's been pretty fortunate. He's been a team leader for a while, and I announced that I was going to be leaving at the end of this year, about a year and a half ago. And so it gave them an opportunity to decide who they wanted their new commander to be. He has had the opportunity to go to all the training and things that were necessary for him to hold that position. And he's had the ability to be in the command bus, which is where everybody hates to be. But it is a necessary position, so he's got to be in there for the last few calls and kind of got a firsthand glimpse of what it's like to run the team. Plus, he's been dealing with training and all the documentation, paperwork, and all those things. So he's got a really good taste of what's coming, which I think is absolutely fortunate on his behalf because it's something I didn't get. Right. I basically kind of got the keys, and they said, "Here you go, figure it out." And it was quite the learning curve along the way. So I think he'll do well. I have all the faith in the world that he'll do a good job.
Awesome. Do you have any questions for Blake? Does anybody have any questions for Blake Long or Dan?
Right. Just
Either or.
Either.
go
either
ahead,
or.
Matt. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No.
No.
Go right ahead.
No,
I was
absolutely
just
not.
going to tell Matt to start firing away.
Yeah, I'm waiting. He's already acknowledged that we're waiting. So
Yeah.
I'm just waiting on that.
He's just trying to pick a good one, I guess.
It's going to be good.
He probably has several.
I was going to
already.
say, let's not make it just one.
Yeah, there's.
He needs to get used to
It
being in
can't
the
be
hot
one.
seat.
So, in order for a SWAT team on a call out to run smooth, you have to have a good command system.
Sure.
Without giving too much away, can you kind of explain your command system and how that works without giving too much away?
I think I probably got to back up a little bit so that you'll understand it
Okay.
completely. So basically, we are a multi-agency team. So it's not just the sheriff's department. It's not just Martinsville PD. It is Martinsville PD, Mooresville PD, the Morgan County Sheriff's Department, Brooklyn PD, and Morgantown PD. So we are a multi-jurisdictional team, and from that, basically you have to have a minimum of 3 years on. And then you can apply formally in writing to the team to be part of the team. In that process, of course, you have to have approval from your chief or the sheriff because it's a big responsibility to sign on to. So once that happens, and once we have an opening, depending on which agency it's coming from, then we will do team tryouts. During that tryout process, it is a 100% vote. You have to get 100% of the team's approval to get on the team. And we've had a lot of questions about that in the past. You know, why is it 100%? What if somebody doesn't like me? I understand that you better work out your problems because the reason that we have it that way is because my life is in their hands, their life is in my hands. And if there's any rift or issues there that come up, those things need to be quashed immediately because we are an unusual law enforcement family, probably closer than any group in law enforcement that you'll find. Because of the way we function and the way we work. So once you get onto the team, of course, you have to go through an interview process. You go through a physical agility process, and then you go to a vote. Once you make it onto the team, then you're on the team on probation for a year. And during that time period, you have to go to your first mandatory training, which we're fortunate it's held at Bloomington. Bloomington SWAT teaches it. It's about a 60-hour course put on in a 5-day period. Wow. And it's tough. It really is. It's tough. Once they finish that, then they come back for more of the on-the-job type training where we actually teach them the things that we do and how we function and so on. And then at the end of the year, then we vote to keep them usually. We've had a few people that didn't make it, but that was just because they just didn't fit. And from there, you're on the team. So everything from within our team is decided and structured amongst the team. The sheriff and the chiefs, they both sign off on our SOPs, our standard operating procedures, but they're written by the team. And they're also written with the best interest of the team and nationwide standards in place. From that point, then we have a commander, which will be Blake soon, and then we have 2 team leaders that are on the entry teams. So we have 2 separate entry teams, and they each have their own team leader, and then we have a sniper team. And it has their own team leader as well. Attached to us, of course, is negotiations. We have medics, we have dispatchers, we have sport personnel. There's a lot of people to it.
That's crazy.
It's an amazing operation once it starts flowing.
Right.
So we have a couple pending questions, both for Blake. The first question, or actually it's a suggestion, that can you shift a little? Your hairline is causing a glow.
I actually pointed that out.
That's
before
actually
we started.
from your brother.
Yep.
And then another, this is an actual question. So Dan's nickname is Mother Goose. What are we going to call Blake? The people want to know.
The team will not be excited if this is where you announce my nickname.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't announce it, but I will tell you how
It's top secret.
we are stuck with these names. Like everything else, it's team vote. And I have a list of potential names for Blake.
Can you give us some good ones?
I don't know that I can actually say some of them in a broadcast situation. So,
That's gonna be awesome.
but next month in June, we plan on having Blake leave the room, and I'm gonna put all those names up, and they're gonna go through and vote on which one it's going to be. I'm pretty sure where it's going to be now. I've had a whole lot of feedback on one particular name, but you know we're probably going to stay along the same lines. Mother Goose is kind of a motherly figure. Supervising a SWAT team is a whole lot like herding cats. So we're probably going to stick along those same lines.
So we know you have this answer, and I'm sure he will too, but we're going to ask Blake because he's not really said a whole lot. So, can you explain the procedure on who makes the decision to call out the SWAT team?
It actually is Dan currently. So whoever the supervisor is or the officer in charge on the street would notify Dan of what their situation was, and then we do a couple different things to decide if it meets our criteria, and then that determines whether or not we call out the team.
So ultimately, it's your decision then,
Correct.
or it will be your decision.
Correct.
Awesome. Lana Farron commented.
Smoking hot with Lana.
Yes. She would like Blake to know, and Dan, that she will volunteer anytime for playing a CPR dummy.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Anytime you need that, just let her know.
Team Long, Team Downing is what she put on her
Oh, nice.
hashtag.
Hashtag Team
So-
Long, hashtag
Nice.
Team Downing.
Can't go wrong there. We
Nope.
got our own team.
Well, except the fact that since I am the sitting commander, I'll have everybody and he'll be by himself. So
Right.
I'm down with that.
Yep, there you go.
Very true.
So, how far can our SWAT be dispatched? Only in our county, or do we assist other surrounding counties?
So currently, we do everything in our county, Brown County, Owen County, and then we assist Monroe and Johnson County as a secondary team. The state police has a central team. Some of the counties choose to use them for certain things, but our response time may be a little faster sometimes, so they'll call us, but we're able to go there through like a memorandum of understanding between agencies.
Now, you kind of touched on like all the different elements that make up the SWAT team. We had somebody ask, like, how many members, is there a number for like exactly how many members are on the Morgan County SWAT team, or does it just kind of vary depending on the situation?
There's not a hard line. Basically, what it comes down to, as far as the entry guys or the tactical positions, it depends on how many officers those agencies are willing to dedicate to that team. So right now we have a 16-person number as tactical people. Now we also have negotiators that are not included in that 16-member number. Dispatchers, medics, support personnel, they're not included in that. So last I checked, I think we were at 28 or 29 total people.
Nice. Now, your daughter, she grew up with my daughter. They were good friends.
Correct.
And your daughter is now a dispatcher for the Morgan County Sheriff's Department. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. She works in the 911 center.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I bet it's I would assume as a father, it's nice having your daughter kind of follow in your footsteps, but in a safe place.
Well, I'm not sure this is exactly where she wants to stay. I think she probably wants to look into a career in law enforcement.
Right.
You know, I have all the faith in the training that law enforcement is provided, and you know, I'm sure she'll be safe. There's going to be some hairy moments, I'm sure. They've had to endure some hairy moments with me along the way over the last few years, and you know, she'll be fine if that's the path she chooses to travel, and I'll support her 100%, just like I would any of my kids.
Right. That's awesome.
Your other daughter is working EMS, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Is she's recently out of high school, right?
She actually is graduating this year, a year early, and she went through the EMT school that they have at the high school. She's not old enough to actually test yet, so but she's completed the class, and she's gonna go into the EMS field. I think she wants to be a paramedic and maybe
Not a fireman, right?
It's possible. You know, I don't know.
Here we
I
go.
don't know. You know, they kind of. They kind of get stuck with that too, because I was a fireman for 10 years.
I was
So
going to say that's kind of following in your footsteps.
it is kind of. So you know, I really can't bash them for that. It's painful. I won't deny that. But
You just get some rest where you have to do real work.
exactly.
Right?
Well, it's the best part-time job in the world.
There you go.
So,
So, we have a question. Did Blake have a nickname when he was younger, and is it in the running for his new team leader name? That's from your brother.
I may have had a nickname when I was younger. I'm not sure that I could share that.
Probably not.
I I'm guessing it's probably not in the running.
I don't even know what it is, so it's not in the running. But I'm sure that name could be provided to me, and I could make sure it makes it to the list.
That would be a good one because I think I know what it is.
Well, I'm looking forward to finding out what that name is.
It was a good one.
My wife asked, who drives the giant SWAT mobile? I'm pretty sure that's probably the technical name for it.
Yeah.
And
The bus.
have either of you ever had to use it?
Okay. Well, Blake, you want to field that one?
We have
You want
3
to-
different giant vehicles. So we have an MRAP, we have our equipment truck, and then we have a mobile command center. So our support personnel drives all of those. So we have drivers for our equipment truck specifically, a driver for the mobile command center, and then Bob Gilbreth actually is our main driver for our MRAP. And we use all of those every time we deploy.
Nice.
They're pretty sharp.
You guys had one of them at the night out thing, right? Last
Correct.
year?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I took some footage of it and stuff. The
So-
kids love it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's really
They do.
a neat vehicle.
Jer- mm,
Mm.
Jerry Bertelson is saying hi, Dan, or hi, Dad, and hi, Blake.
Hi,
Jerry Bertelson.
Hi, Jerry.
He's-
Matt wants
Gosh darn.
Matt wants to know if you think you're as tactical as Dan.
Oh no, never.
I have to agree. He's
Those
not.
are
He's
shoes
not.
you cannot fill.
I won't go that
That's
far,
awesome.
but he's not.
So, how often do you guys train? It's not just the 60 hours in that week. You said you have to come back and get your training also from you guys, but that's not it.
Right.
So you guys train more than that.
Right. The team itself trains together 10 hours a month, every month. On top of that training that we do monthly, once they get their initial SWAT certification, depending on what their specialties are, and most everybody has a specialty that they're interested in, whether that be the snipers or explosive breaching, team leader, all those different things. Those are all additional trainings that they have to attend outside the normal work time that they work the street in uniform and the monthly 10-hour training. So.
And as far as the training goes, do you pick what they train? Do the guys get to pick what they train?
The monthly training?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have some input in it. But I found out in the first couple of years that I was the commander, it was a daunting task to try to come up with training for every month. So what we started doing is in January of every year, we assign 2 officers to every month so that they cover the things that whatever their specialty may be or wherever they think that we're lacking at in training aspects, then they get to do that particular month, and they have a little bit more input and basically input in the direction of how the team is operating.
So somebody asked how many hostage negotiators are there, and what's the importance of them in the overall team?
I believe we have 6. I was trying to count them off the top of my head. To be honest with you, hostage negotiations, they are the most important part of our team. As long as they're able to talk, we will allow them to talk. Because we want a peaceful resolution to every task or every call out that we have. So as long as they're talking, we allow them to talk. So I'm going to say that they are probably one of the most important aspects of our team, and we have been very fortunate that pretty much about every time we've went out, they've been able to do a wonderful job, and they've got the person out without any injuries.
Nice. Without any injuries to law enforcement as well.
Correct.
So, I was sorry about that. I was loud. When Joe Roop helped set up SWAT team in 1997 and assisted in training, he done a lot of training in rappelling from buildings. Is this still a part of the SWAT training?
It is. It is. And
That's a good question.
It's not because that we have a lot of high-rise structures here in Morgan County that we would be utilizing that skill in. Rappelling is a team-building event. And it works very well. We use that also with our new guys that are coming in because you really get a chance to gauge if they're willing to overcome their fears. It's not an easy thing to step off of a 100-foot tall building with nothing but a rope. Or as Joe Roop did, he took us to the IU Stadium and made us go upside down and rappel to the bottom from there. So it is an absolute team building effort, and it does still. We do it at least twice a year, and you know, John Richards is one of our guys that really loves to rappel, and he makes sure that it gets on the schedule every year.
I know, because I used to work with him, and he tried to get me to work out every morning, 6 o'clock, and it was constant. So I can just imagine him coming to you and saying, hey, is my rappelling on the schedule?
Yeah, it is, and he does it.
Every
Yeah.
single-
He's a machine. He
every
really
year.
is. He's a machine.
So we have another question. Do you, I think they meant to put use robots before entering a bomb situation, or is that just in the movies?
We have had the opportunity on a few occasions to use robots. We don't own one because of the cost of that particular item. Johnson County Sheriff's Department has a robot, Johnson County SWAT. They have a robot that we've used on a couple different scenarios. If we had one, we would use it a lot, but because of the non-existence of them in this area, we have to use manpower to do that.
Also, that's more of a EOD team.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If it's an
Incident.
explosive situation, yeah, it's going to be
Like
more.
if you
of an
knew there was a bomb there, it would be an explosives team that would enter first before we could really do anything else.
So that's separate from you guys. then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we do not do EOD at all, which is explosive ordnance demolition. So
Right.
we don't do that.
So you guys don't have like a bomb squad.
No, we do not. We did in years past, but
That's
we
from
don't anymore.
IMPD, isn't it? Is that normally who we call?
Well, we have several mutual aid agreements. IMPD, Indiana State Police, Johnson County, they all have teams, and that's just something that we don't maintain here in Morgan County.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys use drones for anything? And if not, do you want to?
we do use drones. As a matter of fact, we just got a brand new one that actually has a FLIR camera attached as
Those
well.
are so nice.
And it is a great asset. The problem is drones are new to law enforcement in general. It has to be listed by law in our search warrant before we can ever even get a drone off the ground in a tactical situation. And of course, everything we do is done with judge's approval.
Right.
So yeah, we have them. We have not used the new one in any tactical situations yet, but I'm sure it's going to be coming in real soon because it's information that's real-time information that is really vital to
Yeah,
to
well,
an operation.
and just the vantage point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like higher ground is always better.
Right.
And if you can cover so much, you can cover such a huge area with it. As long as you have one that's got like decent flight time and it'll stay up for like half an hour, you know what I mean?
Right,
You can really get a lot done with a drone.
Yeah, it's a great asset.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate enough to just have gotten one. So
So
I think that the coolest thing I've done is found a lost cow so far.
Oh, I thought you were going to say got yours stuck in the tree.
No, well, I did do that, and I mean, like I flew in New York City, like all that part was cool, but as far as like search and rescue or any kind of stuff like that, just a lost
Did you see
cow.
how you went around the flying
I
into
did.
the tree?
Yeah, I heard that.
No, dude, I
He didn't
totally
even want to talk about it.
Dude, no, I almost died.
I saw how easily that can happen.
Yes,
But he
It's
did
so
almost
bad.
die from that.
I did.
Like,
I had a steel pole fall about 80 feet and miss hit me in the top of the head by about that much because I was completely impatient and didn't wait. And the bucket truck, the guy was coming down, he had the pole on the side and it hit like a branch and fell, and I just happened to be standing right underneath it picking up my drone.
Oh,
And it
wow.
like skimmed off the side of my head and hit me in the shoulder. And then I tried to play it off like I was all right. And then I got in the van. We started to drive away. And I was like, oh, my God, take me to the hospital.
so we have another couple questions here. How quick can SWAT prepare when they're called to action?
Ooh, good question.
So, if it's I guess just a normal call out, so not something that we would have time to prepare for, like a warrant we could spend all the time in the world. So, we respond from wherever we are. So all of our equipment is generally kept with us, except for certain things. But generally within about 30 minutes, the majority of our team is arriving and gearing up. And then within an hour, we're generally operational.
We actually changed our response policy about 10 years ago. Everyone responded to the sheriff's department, and then we all rode together to the scene. We were losing valuable time and valuable intel, so we transitioned to where the guys are keeping their equipment with them. It is not uncommon to have SWAT personnel on the scene within 10 minutes of any call within Morgan County. Last year when we went to Owen County, I think we had SWAT guys on the scene in 20 minutes. So,
Oh, wow.
And that was officers being shot at. So the information that we get real time from the guys that know what to expect, because they worked with the team, is extremely valuable, just because they're getting there so much faster.
Right.
So we'll go ahead and ask this question, then I'll jump back and ask this other one, because there's several questions coming in now.
And they're all for Blake, right?
This one is for, this person wants to know, why does Blake frown every time Gary says he has a few more questions?
Probably just waiting for the good ones. A lot of people owe me a lot of paybacks. I'll just leave it at that. I get myself in a lot of battles.
So Jacob Babs asked, was Blake ever in Boy Scouts?
I was never in Boy Scouts.
Really?
Somebody said Dan talks a lot.
Dan does talk a lot.
That's from Michaela.
Someone.
Right.
So that means Michaela wants to hear Blake talk more, which I'm absolutely good with.
I think you were kind of motioning to tell me to
I think
have him
she's-
answer some questions.
I kind of was,
She's
yeah.
probably getting ready to not watch any longer anyways, so keep talking, Dan.
Can anyone join the team?
Okay, so he explained earlier you have to have 3 years.
That's from Jerry Bertelson, by the way.
Well, him, never. Not happening. Won't even
You
be
can't join the
considered.
team.
Nope.
Sorry, Jerry.
Ryan already told him no.
Okay, good.
He said
Then
you can't
I'll
join.
just let Ryan answer that. No.
So-
So 3 years minimum law enforcement. Then, like Dan said earlier, you have to be approved by your administration. So whether that be the chief, sheriff, whatever the process is at your department. And then we do the tryouts, but you have to have a 100% team vote.
Nice. We had a mom ask, do you have a boot camp for kids? If not, she has 3 boys who will be, or if you do, she has 3 boys that will be the very first to show up.
Can I answer that one? I actually have some input on that one.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the Indiana Sheriff's Association actually has a career camp, which is held in Brown County, and it is for people for kids that are interested in becoming future law enforcement members. We go to that camp every year. We do a demonstration there. It is a wonderful camp. It's good for the kids to be able to get out and see kind of what they've got in store for them if this is the career path that they choose. They do a lot of fun activities as far as EVOC or emergency vehicle driving. SWAT comes, canine demonstrations. It's a really good camp. It's actually coming up in June. And I know if you go to the Morgan County Sheriff's Department's Facebook page, we have a link on there for people to sign up. So I would encourage that. It's an awesome thing.
I actually attended that camp when I was younger with Jeremy Long. We were roommates at the camp, and it was a lot of fun.
Younger or taller?
I've never been taller.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry.
So
Well,
he's younger.
He's at his tallest
I
now.
totally avoided that beginning statement where you said you were up on the table dancing. So I
Yeah,
avoided
it's
that. I
because
just
my
wanted to
head
get a
won't
plug
hit
in.
It's
the
been
ceiling
it's
if
been
I'm
it's
up
been
here.
chomping at it.
It has been
He had
chomping
to-
at
he-
me.
He had to get that.
Oh,
out.
no doubt in my mind.
I've been. Can I ask you a question?
Me?
Yeah. Do your viewers know that the rest of us are sitting down, but you've stood up the entire time?
Oh.
Sorry. I had
Mute
to.
his mic.
Now you're going to get in big trouble because I'm going to have to talk.
It's
So,
fine.
so Matt says he's still in Boy Scouts.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Still ain't made that Eagle Scout, yeah.
No. No, I'm
we
no good at it.
we actually do. On a serious note, I like to joke around too, but we've got a lot of questions coming in. How far is a sniper expected to be able to shoot?
You want to field that one?
Nope.
Okay. So law enforcement snipers are much different than military snipers because just the training and the environment that we are in. So we do not generally expect our snipers to shoot out past the normal is inside 100 yards, but they train much farther, of course. But about 120 yards is about where I start drawing the line for them to actually shoot.
Nice. That's decent. Too bad Blake can't shoot that far. Anyway.
Blake can't shoot when he's up close.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That's why they're putting me in the bus.
That's why they gave him a dog.
And they put him in the bus.
That's the best way to get rid of the problem is just put him in the bus.
Exactly.
It's the safest place in the world.
Right.
So, let's see here. Somebody says they're still waiting on your wisdom. They're waiting to hear your wisdom. So I haven't heard it yet. We also have a comment that said every kid should go to the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's also a state police camp as well, and I've been to that one also.
That is
Nice.
true. That is true.
Morgan County used to have a boot camp for kids, and my dad was an instructor, but they did away with it. Do you think with this new sheriff we might be able to come up with a youth program?
I think the new sheriff is very youth oriented, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's something that he looks at. From my understanding of the boot camp that we had, however, it was a disciplinary type camp for when kids got in trouble. They came into the boot camp. I don't know exactly what happened that boot camp stopped functioning, but I knew the new sheriff, like I said, is very youth oriented, and I wouldn't be surprised if something like that does kick off again. I think
That's
it'd be
awesome.
great for the community.
I agree. Blake, I want to hear a little bit about the K9 part of your job.
All right, so I've been doing that for about 7.5 years. I got my dog when he was 6 months old.
What's his name?
His name is Dasco.
And he is a big dog.
Yeah, he's pretty large.
Oh my gosh.
So he's German Shepherd, came from Eastern Germany. We purchased him from a kennel in Ohio from a trainer named Al Gill. Basically, you go through an 8-week initial certification course as a team. So without the dog, the handler's not certified. Without the handler, the dog's
Right.
not certified, that kind of deal. And then we do maintenance training for the remainder of your career as a team twice a month. So basically, the dogs that we have here are all what we call dual-purpose dogs, dual-purpose canines. So they are detection dogs and aggression control and tracking. So those are the main three. Ours are all narcotics dogs. There are dogs that detect explosives, but we do
Right.
not have any of those currently. We train in Bedford. Well, actually now Mitchell and Bedford, but the Mitchell police chief, Mike Johnson, is our dog trainer. He's also the president of our Canine Association,
Nice.
which is the American Police Canine Association. He's been training dogs for, I believe, 30 to 31 years.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, he
Pretty
knows
good.
his stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And really, canine was not really something that I ever knew that I would be interested in. I mean, I always knew I wanted to be on a SWAT team, but once I started working as a policeman and I actually had some interaction with dogs, it kind of just became a passion. And then
Right.
Matt, he had a dog that's retired 2 years ago, Pharaoh, and once he got him, I basically just would go to his house and have him at least acclimate me to the dog. So
Right.
if he'd go on vacation or whatever, I could go over and take care of him. And
Right.
they're just extremely smart and probably one of the best resources that we have.
That's awesome.
I've had the opportunity to kind of hang out with Dasco and some of the other canines on the department.
Mhm.
They're really, really cool dogs to hang out with. It's not like your normal house dog. So it's like when they get them out of the car, I kind of stand still until they come up. And once you
Right.
love on them a little bit, and like I think they kind of understand who we are
Right.
because they see us more than
Well,
one time.
they'll sense a
Right.
lot from the handler.
Right.
I mean, if I'm completely calm,
Right.
for the most part, the dog will be completely calm. But
Right. I remember when I went out with Matt and Shannon on Operation Sheepdog, and yeah, I just remember I was filming. And when you film stuff and you see it like through a screen, it doesn't seem real almost. You know what I mean? And then he come walking around that car with that dog, and I was just kind of like looking at my screen, and then I looked up, and I was like, oh my God, that dog is huge. Like,
He's definitely big.
Yeah, he is a big dog.
But he was calm and super cool. He just when he alerts, he just sits, right?
Yes. Yep.
Because
That's his primary.
right.
Yeah.
Instead of like barking or something.
Right. Yeah. So he's what we call passive indicator, not aggressive.
So we have a fireman on here, Charlie Fraker, that on a halfway serious note, in honor of National Police Week, thank you for your dedication and service.
Thank
you, Charlie.
Thank you very much.
And let's see, Jeff Fincham answered, yes, Dan, it was like a Scared Straight program. Valita was in charge of it along with probation.
Right.
Does the SWAT team, after a call is over, settled, etc., meet and debrief like on TV?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That is that's a very important learning aspect, especially when you have new guys. And it's not just the new guys; it's everybody, because we all are human. We're all going to make mistakes at some point in time. So we all come back to a general location. We have a debrief. We go over good, bad, things that need to be changed, issues we ran into along the way. And coupled with that, there are two things that the team always does. It's the same thing, but two different times. So before the team ever leaves the bus to go into an operation, there is a team prayer, because we absolutely need all the support we can get, and that's something that we've always maintained. And when the team gets back and everyone's safe and the debrief is over, we have a team prayer again.
Nice.
And we carry on that tradition, and I hope that Blake carries on that tradition after I'm gone in a few months, and I think it's very important.
That's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
I never knew that.
I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah. So we have a question for Blake
Awesome.
from Matt Long. Blake, do you enjoy working with your brothers, especially Matt? Asking for Jeremy.
Go figure. I do, actually. You would think that it might be difficult because we're brothers, so we fought our entire life, but really,
You kind of still fight. every once in a
we
while.
have bickering matches. There's really no fights anymore. I don't have a leg to stand on, so I automatically lose the fight. But it's really it makes my job a little easier because I pretty much always know kind of where he stands,
Right.
or can have a little leg up on what he might be thinking,
Right.
ahead of time. I will also say that, where you worry about everybody, it's a little different. I mean, Matt and I were on the SWAT team together for my first 5.5 years, so that was different.
Right.
But at the same time, just a sense of relaxation, really.
Yeah, because I mean, nobody's got your back like your brother does.
Right.
I mean, when it comes down to it.
And ultimately, I mean, every member of our team is literally like a brother.
Right.
And Dan said it earlier. You can't get any tighter than we are.
Right.
But yeah, it just kind of adds a little bit more, But yeah, I enjoy it. And even when I used to work nights and afternoons with Jeremy on the sheriff's department, any chance you'd get to show up to a call that the other one was at,
Right.
it was always fun.
So basically, your brother said you played dead, no fighting really, so he always won because you just like lay down and act like you was dead.
Was that when I was a child or now?
It was last week.
I'm pretty sure he's like calling you out now.
It was last week, wasn't
No,
it?
so what happens is, I said this earlier, I create a lot of battles for myself. So I'll run my mouth until the point where we start fighting, and I'll fight. But he's got that whole I'm the older brother, I can't lose part of it,
Right.
Mhm.
where I'm like,
Or I'm the boss, I
right,
can't lose
right.
part.
So, yeah, neither one of us ever give up. So it just comes to the point where you're either going to waste the entire day or somebody just has to agree that it's over.
Right.
So I'm the nice one that just says, all right, I'll take your side.
Right.
So of course we have Jerry Bertelson on here, and he's calling you out saying you can't fight,
Yeah.
which he always does, and you never do anything about it.
I'll just be honest with you. There are some people that you have to kind of ignore. It's
So can you delete him from the site?
We can
just
try.
block him real quick?
We could mute
He
him.
says that you love working with him as a detective.
I love working with every detective and law enforcement officer in this county. Absolutely do. Jerry's no different than anybody else.
What? No,
That's a
Jerry's
good
different.
answer.
Jerry is different than everybody.
All right, Jerry is different. I got to admit, Jerry is
There
different.
is
Yes.
nobody like Jerry.
There's nothing like walking out the back door of the PD on a nice, warm, sunshiny day, and you're having a really rough day because it's so busy. He wouldn't know what that's like because he's been in the office. But anyway,
Right.
really busy, and you look over and you see Jerry Bertelson doing the chicken dance as he walks down the sidewalk. It always makes me laugh. He does that on purpose. It's great. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Well, just to kind of throw it out there, since Jerry's given us a hard time, we're actually in a training this week at IMPD, and it's a homicide major crimes investigation school, and we've probably received somewhere around 10 emails about the expectations of this class, and it's a very professionally hosted class, very structured, and we're supposed to wear business casual. Jerry shows up this morning in tennis shoes, blue jeans, and a T-shirt. So if that tells you anything about working with Jerry Bertelson, I think that should sum it up.
Also, I believe he sent me a message about 8:15 this morning asking me to reset his email address because he didn't know the password. So,
None of that surprises me. It
but you
honestly
just
doesn't.
said you've had 10 emails over the same class. So
Right.
how to get the emails without a password?
I think it's an excuse.
Can he answer that question?
That is, I'm waiting. But, of course, Ryan McKee says day shift is busy, question mark, coming straight from Las Vegas. Wow.
Oh.
Nice.
It's not as busy as Vegas.
Right.
We'll go with some days. Some days they're busy.
More than not anymore, but yeah.
I don't think
I never said that second shift wasn't busy
Oh,
or
they're
the
definitely
busiest
busy.
shift.
Yeah, it's
I just said that
incredible.
we're busy.
I don't think you
Busy
understand the
subject.
stresses behind flying a desk. It can be difficult.
Oh, I know. You
Be
got
very
you got
difficult.
you got to give him some crap though.
Well,
Otherwise,
absolutely.
because he's going to give me crap.
You have to have the proper cushion in the chair, or it can be really bad.
Yeah.
Somebody said we need to just bring Jerry on here.
That'd be an entertaining show. Unfortunately, I'm not going to watch that night.
Are you going to bring his assistant also, or just Jerry?
Who's his assistant?
I don't know. Whoever he decides to use for help that particular day.
Like a lifeline.
John. Bring John Richards.
No.
That's his new assistant.
No.
They are
No.
like two peas in a pod.
Yep.
Poor John.
Father and son.
Father and
Oh
son.
my.
Poor John.
The good thing is I can guarantee John is not watching, and he didn't hear that.
It's recorded, so
It's
I'm
okay.
sure Bertelson will show him tomorrow.
Good.
He could be watching.
No.
You never know.
Well, hey, Sydney is now on with us, along with Kevin Goins and Brent Worth. Thanks for joining us this evening. And McKee, of course, is still on, throwing us some stuff. So, John's head would not fit on the screen. We have wide-angle cameras.
Yeah.
There we go. Just back him
Again,
up. Back
just
him up
back
a little
him
bit.
up.
Do you think maybe you ought to just delete him?
Yeah, that's McKee there. So, I think we've got two getting ready to hit.
Hey,
Yeah.
could you
Yeah.
ask McKee if he could respond to the message I sent him earlier, since
Yeah,
It's
can you
important.
respond to that message, please,
Yeah.
McKee?
it's important?
Jerry Punching Bag Bertelson. Somebody put his nickname as that.
I've not heard that one before,
His assistant would be Blake. That's from Michaela.
basically.
Yes. And do either of you know, in asking for a friend, any age requirement restrictions to join the team?
Age requirement restrictions.
That's from Lana Farron.
Okay, so the only restrictions that we have is that you have to be in law enforcement and you have to have 3 years of experience. So I guess if you're over the age of 21 with 3 years of experience, or you're under the retirement age and can still manage to complete the physical agility, Lana, you can come out and join us.
Right.
What about if you just need some home cooking while on a call out?
Always need home cooking.
So could she
We call that
join the
support
SWAT
staff.
team as the support staff?
Yes, we'd love to have
There
Lana
you
as
go,
the support
Lana.
staff.
And she makes some good food.
Yeah,
she
she
does.
does.
She absolutely does. That actually is the reason that I'm retiring, is because it's a young man's game. It's no longer, it's not a game for old guys, and I'm getting to the old point, so Blake can take over.
Does your Do the people on the SWAT team, do they have body cameras?
No.
Do you guys have someone that like goes with you to film things, whether it be for like liability purposes or any other reasons?
Well, there's a lot of issue right now in the legislation and with the law, the way it was written about body cams and how we have to store them and redact that
Right.
information. So there's a lot of liability there. So that's something that we've never broached out into, was that liability issue of actually recording those things. We have recorded some training issues, training events, so that we can actually go back and look at them again.
Right.
But actual call outs, because we don't have a policy on it at this point. So we don't do any of that at this point in time. That may be something that Blake looks into here in about 7 months.
Dan loves MREs.
I do.
That's from Shane.
You
Norris.
do?
Love them. Yeah.
I heard that is it the spaghetti meatballs one? Is that the good one? The
There's several
lasagna
good
one or
ones.
something?
Like Chili
There's a
Mac's
lot
really
of good
good.
ones.
Chili Mac's
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, and really, I just kind of push them off on the guys and make them eat them because they cry and whine. If they wouldn't complain so much, we wouldn't eat them as much as we do.
You'd probably have Lena Farron making you guys some food.
Absolutely. And well, at least Blake and I could eat Lana's food, and they could eat MREs. Either way.
There you go. Amanda wants me to tell Blake McKee will respond when he gets back from vacation.
Right. I got it. No worries.
That's not what you wanted to say. I can tell.
I'm good with it.
So Dan, when you do hand this over, what's next for you?
I guess a little less responsibility. It's going to be an absolute bittersweet moment.
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking forward to it for a while, but then I go to training and I realize how difficult this is going to be to hand over.
Yeah.
It is a world of responsibility. To be able to sit in the bus or have to sit in the bus and hear that silence while you don't know what's going on with your guys. The last call out, I experienced it a lot. And it was probably only about 3 minutes, and that 3 minutes seemed like about a week and a half. And, I'm just really kind of looking forward to a little less stress in my life.
Right.
And Blake can have it. I mean, it's been a fun ride, and it's time for somebody else. And my feeling has always been, and I told these guys a long time ago, I think that everyone in any position, you have a point in time where you're no longer an effective leader, and it takes new blood. And this is time. It's time for the team to have new blood and new direction and some youth, instead of me being there running it my way. There are better ways. There are other ways that it can be ran, and I think it's time for that. The team is something I love dearly, and it's a part of my life. It's
Right.
kind of my baby. So
Right.
I think Blake will do a good job with it, and he'll
Is
carry on the
there-
tradition.
Like an official party or ceremony of the handing over of the...
There hasn't been, and I think Blake was going to say something. I hate to cut him off since he hadn't
There
talked.
may be something at some point in December at our Christmas party.
Oh, okay. Well, we do have a Christmas dinner every year, and it's a family Christmas dinner for the spouses and the team members. And generally, what it turns out to be is the retirement day for all of our guys as they leave the team. That's their official day.
Right.
That's going to be my official day. Jason Allen and I are leaving together. We are the two remaining founding members of the team. And we're going to go out together. So,
Nice.
it's going to be a rough night. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also kind of sad about it in the end
Yeah.
as well. So,
You guys have any more serious questions? Send them in. I'm sure Matt does. Blake is... Oh, I'm sorry.
I just want to know, like, I was gonna ask Blake too. Like, what's the scariest call you've ever been on?
I don't know. I mean, that's a tough question. A lot of people ask that, but really, in my opinion, if you don't have a little sense of fear on everything that you do, then you probably need to look a different direction. But I don't know. I mean, I couldn't list one that's probably scared me more.
Right.
I've been a little scared here and a little scared there, but usually. Truthfully, you find this sense of, I guess, calm in the people that you're with. I mean,
Yeah.
you get so trusting of the guys you work with.
Yeah, I would assume that in your training, it probably just becomes muscle memory at some point. Like,
Correct.
not necessarily going through the motions, but you've trained so much that you can just do it without even thinking.
Correct.
Right.
Which I'm sure in times like that is absolutely, like, every second is completely imperative, I would assume. Do you still get, like, those, like, that adrenaline
Oh, yes.
rush feeling? Dude, the night that I ran around with your brother and stuff, that's how I felt all night long. I was so jacked up, and then I got home. Like, I can't even tell you the last time I even stayed up that late, for one.
Right.
And then I got home, and I, like, sat down in my comfortable chair, and, dude, I was out. And I slept so well.
So I would say that, you know, when I first started, I mean, it was an adrenaline rush all the time. And then, you know, as things came to be a little more frequent types of calls, I mean, even just police work in general,
Right.
it's a less and less of an adrenaline rush. But yeah, pretty much any time that we get a SWAT call out, it's an adrenaline rush from the get-go. And
How do you get that behind the desk?
Solitaire.
Like, really, on his behalf, I'll speak.
I'm just teasing.
Him, Matt, Lachelle, anybody that works behind it, even, you know, Foley, Bertelson, and John, anytime they can come out and help. We've had calls where, you know, or been slammed where there's a couple on, and you know, something serious enough, nobody's requested, they just fly out the door and are going. Or let's say we're all walking out to lunch and they hear a call come out that's like, you know, possible fight or something of that nature, resistor or something of that. I mean, they're all over it. They'll jump in their vehicles and take off with us and show up. So
Nice.
you really can't take that passion away. So even, you know, you sit at the desk and you listen to your radio all day long, and the chance that, you know, the minute the call comes out, that's like, okay, they might need some help.
Out the door.
You get up and go. I mean, it keeps you, honestly, just keeps you leveled out, and you can enjoy what you're doing, but also still your passion. So
Blake is a taser instructor
Oh, really?
currently. How many times has he been tased, and what was his favorite one? I don't think you really have a favorite tasing that you got yourself, do you?
No. 27 times I've been hit with the taser. I think probably 8 or 10 of them were from Dan.
Probably, yeah.
Different points in time.
Why did you shoot him with the taser?
I was also a taser instructor at one point in time. So did I train you initially?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So when I trained him initially as a taser instructor, one of the things that when I went through taser instructor school, which was totally different than now, you had to get tased multiple times. And the worst one that I ever got was in the Achilles, which was absolutely horribly painful. You know, since I went through that process, I've taken some joy in being able to teach other officers how to utilize a taser, and some of them are more eager. As he's told you along the way, he has a tendency to get himself into trouble.
I'm
for
just
that.
curious, though. Have you ever been shot on the front side of your body? A lot of people haven't. So
No, I have not.
Okay, so
I'm not volunteering.
I told you I get myself into a lot of problems. So I volunteered once to get shot in the front, and I got hit in the groin.
Ooh.
So if I had to pick one that I hated the most or didn't like, that was miserable. I have since not, I mean, other than in a situation where, you know, I had to tase somebody for work, not for training. I won't shoot people in the front. It's horrible. Terrible.
I don't know what they're up to.
Sorry.
I'm sure more
No.
questions.
Oh, I'm sure.
probably.
I was just trying to help prep some questions
Yeah.
for you. That was all.
I appreciate it.
So, do SWAT members get extra pay, or are they volunteers? As far as, do they get extra pay for joining the SWAT team, or is that a volunteer position that you get paid from your department?
So we just make our normal pay. There's no extra pay for being on the SWAT team. They get paid for their training, but it's just their normal hours. Get paid for their call outs, but everybody else would get that too, just depending on being called out. But everybody on there volunteers, and then really up until about the last maybe 3 or 4 years, I mean, most of us at some point purchased the majority of our own equipment besides firearms now. So they actually spend money to be on the SWAT.
Right.
So as much as we like to razz all of you, this is from Chip Williams, we do appreciate you and what you guys do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. If I could kind of add on to that, I left the street and went to plain clothes 16 years ago, I think, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to come back and work uniform here and there, and I got to work last week from Monday through Friday on the street, and actually be in uniform and take calls with the guys. So it was kind of an eye-opening event to get back out there. When I left the street, we didn't have the support here in Morgan County that we have today, and it was amazing because every night when I was out, someone would approach me and tell you, thank you for what you're doing. Mm-hmm. We appreciate your service. And I was actually directing traffic on an accident scene at Keller Hill in 42, and someone drove by and stopped and said, thank you for what you're doing. We appreciate you. So, Morgan County definitely supports law enforcement. I feel absolutely truly blessed to be here in this county as compared to some other counties that don't support their law enforcement as much. But, with Police Week going on, that was a great thing to come out of the office and change up a little bit and get to see, what goes on every day, and not as a desk jockey like I usually do, right. And to see how Morgan County's really changed supporting law enforcement. It's awesome.
Nice.
Well, I want to say thanks because I work with you guys. I don't work with you as much as I do him, but I know what we deal with and the stuff that we put up with and a lot of the negative. And I know as people in positions have to deal with more bad than good and don't get to hear thank you a lot from the community. So I just want to say thanks from me as a patrolman to you guys for what you guys do, and always being there to have our backs if we need you. It means a lot to us to know that we have somebody to call on if we get into a situation where our backs are against the wall, and that means a lot to us. So
we appreciate that. That's what we strive to be here for.
I will tell you one more thing just to touch on the question about if the guys get paid or not. None of these guys would ever want anybody to give them this appreciation, but I will also tell you that we are on call 364 days a year. So the 16 guys plus all the support personnel. A lot of times that means that you're getting called out in the middle of Christmas, in the middle of Thanksgiving, kids' birthday parties. I mean, literally in April, I had been at my son's 8th birthday party for 30 minutes when we got a SWAT call out. Fortunately, it resolved itself before we actually had to deploy, but every one of them, for the most part, at the drop of a hat, if they can, will just pick up and go. So, I mean, you don't ever have to worry about filling somebody else's void. Everybody always comes and takes care of their own duties.
Yeah, that's that's one thing that I've really noticed, because I've lived in Martinsville my whole life since I was little, and I don't know a ton of people on the Morgan County Sheriff's Department. The few that I do know, and then plus the guys, with the city police, like, this is by far the best law enforcement, I think, as a group that we have had in a long, long time. It's, it's guys that and it's men and women that really care about our community. They care about the people of the community, and it's honestly a lot of people that really want to make a difference. And I think I think that's important, especially in a position like being sheriff's deputy, or a lieutenant, or even on the road, or any of it, honestly, because if you're not in it for the right reasons, then you're not, it's not going to work out the way it should. when people are in it for the right reasons, and it's because they want to help the community and want to see the community be a better place for not only, you know, their family, but for the families that live here and their kids, and then, you know, what's going to be their kids' kids, and on and on and on. That's how you make change, and that's how, you know, that's what makes a difference. And, you know, I truly believe that both of your departments are definitely making a difference in this community. I heard some stats the other day about the different like operations and stuff that the departments have been running, and you know, you guys have cleaned up a lot of stuff. I mean, and that's nothing, you know, I mean, that's something to be extremely proud of, because
you definitely have a large group of what I guess the easiest way to explain it would be like go-getter policemen. I mean, every single one of them wants to come to work and truly make a difference.
Yeah.
But they want to do that every day.
Yeah.
So
And that's awesome.
when you have that mentality, I guess, on either department,
Yeah.
you can get a lot more done.
Well, and just to see you got like the night out thing, and, you know, the haunted house, just to see you guys like out there visible doing things within the community. I mean, even you too, you know what I mean? Well, you looked at me like you were mad because I wasn't including you.
No,
so.
I was just looking at. I was
okay.
listening to what you had to say.
Okay.
I was
think
looking
it
at
was something to do with that visible comment.
looking at my phone, and then I looked at you, and then you called me out again.
I'm sorry. I got to quit doing that.
That's twice now tonight.
I
He
know.
dimed us out the first right off
Right
the bat.
Right off the bat.
And then he just did it again to me, and I
Sorry.
had, gosh darn, man, what's going on here?
I love you, Gary. Sorry.
Yeah. What about this sound? This sounds good though.
I know.
Does this not sound good?
This is
Very
this is
clear.
great quality sound. At least maybe it's these headphones. I'm not really sure, but
No,
it's
even
great
on, I mean,
quality
the
sound.
headphones, it sounds
It's-
great in the
and we-
headphones, but
yeah.
even on there, like, it's.
Sounds well. That's what I was sitting here
like,
thinking about.
My goal when I started this was, I don't know if either of you watch Joe Rogan's podcast at all, but it's great and it's hilarious. But the sound quality is like so professional and so quiet. That's like what I strived for
like
I was
when we
building this.
when we started out, before we got what we got,
Mhm.
and without the filters and everything, it sounded like a tin can.
Yeah,
almost.
it kind of sounds
now
like we were in a
it's-
hollow
it's-
room.
Yeah, now it's kind of like real smooth.
Yeah,
Sounds good from my
It's
side.
like sound it's like noise canceling.
Yeah,
I like it.
without anything on the walls
I know.
except signatures.
And
I think that helped
and your deal with it poster.
deal with it.
That's because
So-
he has sunglasses just like that, and when we were first setting up, he would sit there and it would like,
So with the little white squares in them also
no, we have to shine a light on it. You know what I mean? Get the
to
reflection.
get the reflection.
Yeah, if I
So-
look this way.
You can use the
Um,
light off Blake's forehead.
It's very true.
Yeah, I should be wearing tonight. It'd beam right over here.
Right?
If the sun were out in that window right there, it could get bad for you.
Well, it's actually unfortunate because you put him right underneath the light. So, and I'm sure that I'm balding as well, but he's a lot
It's
younger
bad.
than I am.
I
I
mean,
think
I-
I have an excuse.
I hear about it
He's-
every day.
listen,
it doesn't bother me.
He's not as bad as me. I'm telling you. Mine's going back and touching. Look,
Well, I'm also tall enough that
He
people
said,
can't
"Look."
see it.
look at that.
Oh wow, there was another one of those line drives at you. You had your headphones off. You didn't hear him, did you?
What'd he say?
I said I'm tall enough that people can't see my bald spot when I stand up.
It's a tactical advantage. They see that, they go blind. I can't help it.
Tactical advantage.
Tactical advantage is you can hide behind the wheel.
Right.
I can't help that, guys. Don't get mad.
No, I'm not mad.
That's okay.
I can't hide behind a wheel.
So, Sydney's thanking all three of us.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank
there's
you,
been
Sydney.
like
Thanks, Sydney.
everybody
Thanks, Chip.
pretty much that has tuned in has said, thank you for all that you guys do. Really appreciate it. I mean, that's a lot of it. And Morgan County supports you guys for a good reason. Yeah, man, just nothing but positive stuff.
Yeah,
Which
lots of hearts going up.
I know.
And they were really firing up a while ago. There was like
Atlanta must be on there.
covering. Let's see.
If
here.
I can just get Lana to tell me how she makes that ham salad.
She will
She
not.
won't. I know. She actually almost ran over me the other day. 'cause
That's
I
her.
was
That's her.
asking for
That's her money maker,
Yeah, I
man.
know.
She's not coming up off
I
it.
know,
I've
she won't
tried.
come off of it. But we would like to have some of that, Lana, if
Oh,
you're
yeah, that's
watching.
wonderful. I love this stuff. I just ate 2 pounds of it. So
Like
Well,
just
me and-
before we started?
Like
No.
today?
Like earlier.
me and my kids. Not today. Just a couple days ago. I did have her green beans and
Oh yeah.
what was it? Bacon in that and ham stuff.
That was so good.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, she is an awesome cook.
That was
Amazing.
so good.
So real quick, before we wrap it up, do we have anything else you guys want to let anybody know or anything?
Yeah, anything going on or anything happening? Do you guys have any events coming up?
Well,
Anything we didn't cover that you guys want to touch on?
We have we've been doing a lot of active shooter programs at our local churches throughout the county. We have one of those coming up on Sunday. We do several demonstrations throughout the year. We have another one of those coming up next week, I think, North Madison Elementary.
It's Wednesday.
Okay,
This
well,
coming
it's
Wednesday.
Wednesday. So Blake's actually doing that one by himself, so it'll be entertaining. And then, we have the career camp coming up as well. So we have several events coming up along the way. We're busy. We're out there. So
Right. Anything else you want to touch on or
I
anything
would
we
just say
didn't talk
that,
about?
One thing we probably didn't mention, which is probably the most important, is without the support of our agencies, I mean, we would not be capable. So
Right.
we cost a lot of money sometimes.
You cost
Yeah.
a lot of money anyway. So.
I do, but I'm just saying, as a whole,
Yeah.
it's expensive some days, and as long as we're doing a good job and what they expect, then I mean they're always behind us, and,
Right.
and it makes it a lot easier for us to do what we have to do when we have the support that we have.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's funny because, last year at this time, before he actually would have been going into the commander position, he would have never said anything about expense. That was always something I had to deal with.
Right.
And we have been very fortunate as far as chiefs and sheriffs support along the way. But SWAT is an extremely expensive animal to feed.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the range and you shoot 5,000 to 7,000 rounds a month,
Yeah.
which is a necessity, it gets expensive. But Blake has never had the opportunity to really have to be concerned about finances and the team, and I sit back and I get to smile because
Right.
it's awesome. It is absolutely awesome. He gets to feel my pain.
Right.
Bothers me.
So we good? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Are you good?
Hey, may I add, without the support of our community, we wouldn't be as good as we are.
Absolutely.
Correct.
All the tips coming in, all the support they give us is awesome.
Yeah.
So,
We definitely have a great community.
Yes.
Morgan County as a whole.
Absolutely.
It's a great
do.
community.
Well,
real quick, again, look at them shirts. Danielle from Just Winging It,
Yeah, let
right
me-
over here.
yeah, let me see. I think I have it
I
in
tried
here.
to look it up, but
I think I have it in here when they're opening. Give me
grand
1 second.
opening coming up here this week in her new spot.
Yes.
Good prices, good quality
is-
shirts, good print.
So the grand opening is this Wednesday from 4 to 8 p.m. 489 Morton Avenue, Suite E.
489 Morton Avenue, Suite E, Just Winging It.
Yep.
This Wednesday from
4 to 8 p.m. We'll probably go down there and go live because our Wednesday night podcast doesn't start till 9.
yeah. Who we gonna have then?
We have old Tom Henson coming in
With
from Tom Fiddlery
and the MLB band.
Yeah, well,
personnel.
not the whole band.
Not the whole band.
Just,
Well, they wouldn't fit in here.
just Emily.
Yeah.
Emily Rittenberry. She'll be in. We're gonna plug them into the mixer, and Tom's gonna fiddle for us.
Oh, that should be cool.
That's gonna
Be
be
a good show.
It's gonna be awesome.
Be a good
Tom's a super cool guy.
Yeah.
I love Tom.
You guys have anything for us?
show. I just appreciate you letting us come in.
Hey, we appreciate
Thank
you guys
talk
coming
about
on.
what we do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They got signed the wall.
They do. Do you guys want to sign the wall real quick? You can take your headsets off and
Yeah.
pick you out a spot up there, anywhere.
Have you
along
signed
that-
the wall somewhere?
Us?
Yeah.
We
I
have
have
not.
Okay. Because I know wherever I sign, it's going to be higher than what you can read. So
Not necessarily.
I had to get one last one in.
Mine's going to be on the ceiling.
You were standing on a chair. I had to get one last one in. I'm sorry.
Are we going
Poor Gary.
Yeah.
Just wherever you want.
I like over here.
Yes.
Keep it a little hard on there for you, I think.
Did you? That's so sweet. So sweet. All right. Well, Gary,
Are we going to close out with that awesome music?
should we?
I think so.
I think we should.
Yep. Absolutely. Martinsville, thanks for tuning in.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Justin. That is Gary.
Gary.
Thanks to our guests, Blake and Dan.
Thank you.
And then, so we'll see them Wednesday night, 9 p.m.
9 p.m., maybe before if we go live. And always.
Oh, yeah. We'll see them early at Just Winging It.
Yeah.
But then in here at 9 p.m.
And as always.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow. Do you know what tomorrow is?
Yeah.
It's the next episode of Smoking Hot.
With Lana Farron.
I know, zucchini
It's going to be
bread.
great. Ooh, that's good, too. Have you had that?
Yes, I took it home with
That's
me. It was
wonderful.
so good.
It's
It was
wonderful.
like baked perfect, like where the top was like that, like crust, like they kind of had that little crunch.
Oh, it's nice.
So good. So, and I tell you what, man, these next 2 episodes are so good. Like, because we film 2 at a time. That way I don't have to take up a whole lot of her time, you know what I mean? But I've got enough stuff to do a couple weeks. And,
You had some guests, uninvited guests show up
yes,
at a window,
we
didn't
did.
you?
I saw a couple heads
Oh,
pop
my.
up in the window, but she was so much more relaxed this time. And she's hilarious. Like, she is a funny lady, man.
Oh, I know.
Like,
We spent the day with her Saturday.
I want to get Randy in there with her sometime though.
Oh, good luck
Because
with
I just
that.
want to hear her like.
No.
I just want to hear them kind of like go back and forth. I want to get that on film.
Oh, she's going to smack you just for saying
I
that.
know. I love you, Lana. She won't smack me. So-
All right. Hey, as always, stay classy, Martinsville.
Yes, and have a wonderful night. We love you, Martinsville Live, and we will see you later.